Hi everyone, Melissa here. I'm really excited for this week's video of an awesome client success story. So let's get into it. This video is going to be all about manifesting contact from a specific person. This can be any specific person. In this case, it happened to be a romantic specific person, but doesn't matter. This can apply to friends, family, neighbors, somebody you never met. So if you're working on manifesting or you want to manifest contact with a person, this video is for you. Okay, so let's get into it. So I'm super excited about this success story because I've been working with this client for a few months and she's had no movement. I mean, I want to say no movement, like just little breadcrumbs here and there, but nothing she would consider significant movement. And she just had a huge breakthrough, and so I'm really happy for her. Okay, so let's get into it. So this client had a specific person that she initially started casually dating, and then it just kind of fizzled out. And she's been trying to manifest that relationship back. So on and off over the months we've been working together, she's reached out to the SP and they've talked, but then it just kind of fizzled again. So really like hot and cold kind of, they seemed really interested, but then they just kind of disappeared. And then they seemed really interested and then they just kind of disappeared. And this last stretch, they disappeared. They hadn't talked for many months. And so this client, she had a routine of things she was doing in order to manifest this desire. So she would wake up and say a bunch of affirmations, and she was all day long affirming, and really she kind of felt like it was a chore. She'd gotten to the point where she'd been trying to manifest this thing for so many months, and it was really just feeling frustrating and like a job. Like, okay, I have to do this now. Here we go again. And then I'm not getting any results. And so she was kind of feeling stuck in that loop. And I know that is a familiar feeling for a lot of people. I hear that from a lot of clients. And the thing is, if it feels like a job, it's not actually serving the purpose you're intending it to serve. And what I mean by that is, while she felt like affirming for what she wanted was something she had to do, the affirming was actually keeping her stuck in her unwanted story. Not because affirming doesn't work, but because the meaning she was giving the affirming was, it was always, this isn't true yet. This isn't true yet. This isn't true yet. So her doing the work to get the manifestation was keeping her stuck in the this isn't true yet story. So she kind of just got really frustrated trying to affirm all day long and catch her thoughts all day long and making it a job, right? So what ended up happening, I'm going to look at my notes here. So she went on a trip and she just decided to enjoy herself and focus on being present on the vacation and having a good time with her family and just enjoying her life, enjoying her present moment. Because remember, it's always the present moment. So if you can enjoy the present moment as much as possible all the time, go for it. It's only going to help every next present moment be enjoyable, because remember, you manifest what you are aware of, where your focus lies, right? So if you are focused on enjoying your life and having the best time possible, you're going to continue experiencing circumstances that allow you to have the best time possible. Okay, so she went on this vacation, and when she was on this vacation, she just made this decision that she was going to stop saying her affirmations a chore. She wasn't going to set aside all this time every hour to affirm, or she wasn't, it's not that she wasn't going to be deliberate in her affirmations anymore, but she wasn't going to make it like, I have to do this or I'm not going to get what I want, So she had that, she made that decision and she started enjoying her trip. And she how that turned out for her is she would wake up and she would just say a couple affirmations and then she would go about her day. She stopped focusing all day long on affirming for her desire. She just said it when she woke up and went on about her day. And if at some point throughout her day she thought about SP, she'd say those affirmations and then she'd go right back to enjoying her day. She kept it light. Okay. So what ended up happening is she on her phone, she had her SP's number set up with a specific ringtone, and so she would always know when that sound occurred, when that ringtone occurred. Oh, it must be SP. Well, it turns out that a family member on her trip, that was the only ringtone that they used. So the whole trip, their phone was going off with this ringtone that she associated with SP. And at first, that was really triggering. She would hear that ringtone and think, "Oh my gosh, it's SP, it's SP," and then she would look at her phone and get all discouraged. So she had to catch herself and just, it's okay. It's no big deal. I'm not going to let it bother me. It doesn't mean anything bad or good. I'm just going to keep enjoying my trip. And then she would affirm a couple times the affirmation she had about SP. He misses me. He misses me when we don't talk every day. He adores me, etc. Okay. So she was enjoying her trip, and then she kept hearing that ringtone and she would just, brush it off. Oh, it's just so-and-so's phone. Okay. Well, one day she heard the ringtone and she was busy doing something. And then like an hour later, I think, she went back to look at her phone and SP had messaged her. The sound that was associated with SP, this time it actually was coming from her phone. It wasn't coming from her family member's phone. And she was stunned. She was like, "Oh my gosh, I can't believe it." But then at the same time, she was like, "Well, actually, I can believe it because I've been intending that they're going to reach out to me." So she was surprised because she thought it was her family member's phone that went off, but she wasn't surprised to see the message on her phone. So when we talk about expecting your manifestation or knowing it's done, that's kind of how it feels. It's like when it shows up, you don't feel this like, "Oh my God, I can't believe it's here." I mean, you might get excited, you might enjoy what shows up, but on some level, you just already knew it was true. So okay, cool. Yeah, of course this is here because I knew it was true. I commanded it into my experience with my assumption, right? So she got a message from SP after months of no communication. She had not reached out in many months. All this was done just through her assuming communication was happening. Okay. So he texted her and he said, "How are you? I've been thinking about you. I wanted to check in." And they ended up making plans to meet up the following week. And the whole time, they were right back into communication every day. SP was sending her good morning messages and asking about how her day was. And they ended up going out and meeting up for the first time in like I said, many months. And they had an awesome time. It was just like no time had passed. They reconnected. The spark, it was so fun. There was a spark there. He and SP actually even told her when they were hanging out that he wanted to stay longer and he was disappointed he couldn't, but he had made a prior commitment with somebody that he couldn't break with another family member. So he was really bummed that he couldn't spend even more time with her when they were hanging out. So it was like an amazing time all around. She got contact without having to lift a finger in the 3D. And then he was contacting every day, multiple times a day, regularly. The relationship picked up right where it left off. It was really great. They went out and saw each other and he initiated them getting together and they hung out and it was amazing. And he wanted to keep it going. So everything was showing up exactly how she had been affirming. Now, the momentum started in the direction of her desire, manifesting what she wanted to be reflected in out here in the 3D, as soon as she stopped pushing against it by making the affirmations a job. When you're telling yourself, "I don't have it yet," you immediately wake up, "I don't have it yet. I got to affirm this. I got to do this. I got to affirm this." That's you pushing against what you want. What you resist persists. That's you acknowledging the truth of what you don't want. That's you telling yourself, "What I don't want is true, so I have to do this to get it. I have to do this to get it. I have to do this to get it." Instead of just, "What I want is true. What I want is true, and it's true now." no matter what I see or don't see. What I want is true. Okay? So she finally, it was so awesome after so many months of nothing and trying and being frustrated and feeling stuck. It just started showing up beautifully and seamlessly, and she didn't have to lift a finger. Now, where it gets a little bit more interesting is after they hung out, she all of a sudden didn't hear from him. And it took probably a couple weeks. A couple weeks went by and she didn't hear anything from him. And I talked about this in my last video. Like, what are you going to make that circumstance mean? What are you going to make what you are perceiving mean? Are you going to glean a truth from it that is something you don't prefer? Are you going to decide, oh, this means that they never want to talk to me again? This means they're ghosting me. This means that they don't actually like me. This means I'm never going to hear from it. Or are you going to stick to your story? Remember, all you got to do is tell yourself what you want is true and not contradict it with any other assumption, right? So what I want is true. No, I'm not going to make it mean that. What I want is still true. We're still good. He still communicates. We're dating again. We're great. Okay. So she really started, like, she had to catch herself because she got triggered. And she really just, what I want is still true. We're still good. This is still happening. We're still good. And after she did that, she ended up seeing a message on Facebook from one of his friends sending prayers to SP. And then she was like, oh my gosh, what's going on? So she ended up reaching out to SP and, saying, oh my gosh, I saw this. Is everything okay? What's going on? And SP finally responded, and it turns out SP had a medical issue and was in the hospital. And that's why they hadn't reached back out to her. So the 3D confirmed her belief that there was no reason why he would not want to contact her. They're still good. Everything's okay. He couldn't contact her because he had a medical incident. He's okay and on the mend, and everything is going to be great and going well. But your perception is everything. She could have totally made that mean that it's never going to happen. I give up. He's never going to talk to me again. We're done. He's probably talking to somebody else. But she stuck to her story. And when she saw something in the 3D that inspired her to take action, she did. But just like what happened before, she didn't take action before, but she got contact. So this second time, she didn't need to take action. She didn't need to message. She was compelled to when she saw that message and was concerned. And immediately SP responded. The reason SP responded is because she didn't have anything resisting that communication. She wasn't assuming she wasn't going to hear back. She was genuinely concerned, reaching out, wanted him to know that she cared, and she knew that he would message her back because she kept sticking to her story. He always, he communicates to me, we're good, he loves talking to me, we're okay, right? So, and then from there, they picked right back up in their communication, and he was so grateful to hear from her, and right? So, and they're moving forward in the direction, of that relationship. But when you experience what you perceive as hot and cold, the meaning you give it is everything. So just the fact that you're labeling something hot and cold is why you're seeing it as hot and cold. We talk a lot on this channel about not using the 3D as your proof, but I'm going to give you a way to prove to you that what you're doing is always working. Like, your assumptions are always manifesting. Because here's the thing. When something shows up in your reality related to a desire and you don't prefer it, look at that circumstance, and I guarantee you can track back where you agreed with that truth. You agreed with that truth of the circumstance in your mind before it showed up. Like, I'll give you an example. Let's say you've been trying to change your money story. You've been really struggling with money, and you've gone all in on your new story. I always have more than enough. I have thousands in the bank. I'm wealthy. I'm abundant. Okay. And then bills have been, bills have been coming in, and maybe you can't pay them. And so you get super stressed out about a bill, and you're like, oh my gosh, I don't know how I'm going to pay for this. I don't have enough. But then you go back to your new story. Then all of a sudden you get a call from a bill collector saying, if you don't pay this now, we're going to turn off this thing, or we're going to take this thing away, or you're going to be sent to collections or whatever, right? That's exactly opposite of your desire, but it's confirming your true belief. It's confirming what you still really truly believe, which is, I don't have enough. How am I going to pay this? Because that's your reaction to the circumstance. So you see how your 3D can be like, your 3D can be your proof. I mean, because it's always reflecting back to you your assumptions. So what it's proof of is what your belief is. Because how you react to the circumstance shows you your belief. So like when you got that bill in the mail, back to my example, when you got that bill in the mail, the reaction wasn't, I always have enough to pay my bills. This will be paid easily. It was, oh my gosh, I don't have enough. Where's this going to come from? And even though you started to go back to your new story, you still held that truth about that bill. So then the circumstance related to that bill had to show your truth back to you, which was, you're right, you don't have enough, you're behind, you're delinquent. Okay, so let's do this example in the form of the specific person. This client, she manifested contact. When she finally stopped deciding, there was no contact. That's when the contact showed up. And then everything was flowing perfectly. All of her affirmations, as he was saying back to her, the relationship picked up right where it left off. It was going great. Then all of a sudden, no contact again. There's always been a story with her and SP about, I put in, I give more effort. I always have to reach out first. He's not a good communicator, right? So at some point, that worry came up. That's still your dominant truth. What you're deciding is most true about that thing, that person. So it has to show up somehow. So communication fizzled out, right? But again, right there, it's like, what am I going to make that mean? What am I going to make that mean is the most important question, because that's how you change your story. That's how you change the meaning you're giving the thing you don't like, and then the thing you don't like goes away, because now it's no longer true. You don't believe in the truth of it. You don't accept the truth of it. So I really love this story so much because it showed, one, how to navigate hot and cold, what you're perceiving as hot and cold, and two, that the meaning you give the circumstance directly relates to what happens next out here. So if you are trying to manifest communication with somebody, first of all, don't make it a job. Let me rephrase that. If you're trying to manifest anything, don't make it a job. Unless you enjoy doing techniques just because you find them fun. But a lot of people will go into this like super dedicated manifesting routine. Like, I have to do this when I wake up, and then I have to do this every hour, and then I have to affirm 100 times, and then I have to write this down 200 times, and then I have to do sats for 30 minutes, and then I have to repeat it all, and then before I go to bed I have to replay my whole day. That is a full-time job. And manifesting can be so much more light and fun than that, because you're already so good at it. You're already doing it all the time. If what's showing up is what you don't like, then it just means you're focused more on the truth of what you don't want instead of the truth of what you want. So lighten it up. Take some of that work out of it. Excuse me. And instead, just start allowing yourself to believe in the truth of what you want. And it's not even like you have to, I don't like saying it, believe in the truth of it, because people get scared by it, but I don't know how to believe. But how do I believe in it when I don't see the proof of it, when I've never experienced it before? You just have to do it. You just have to do it. You allowed yourself to believe in the unwanted stuff before you had evidence out here. What happened was a circumstance or a thing played out, and you gave that a meaning of, this is how people are. This is how my life is. This is how things go. This is something that's hard. This is something that's easy. And then it projects out in every circumstance. You look at every circumstance through that lens. So if you're trying to change a story, if you're trying to believe in a new truth, the first step is always, what's the truth I currently believe in that contradicts what I want? Okay, now that I know that, what would I rather believe is true? What would I rather experience? Okay, now that I know that, that's where I'm going to put all my faith. That's what I'm going to start telling myself is true, regardless of what happened in the past, regardless of what's showing up now, regardless of what somebody said or did or didn't say or didn't do, or what I thought was hard before. It doesn't matter. The only thing that matters is, what am I going to start assuming is true now? It just takes one better assumption. So believing in something doesn't have to be this big, hard, bad thing that takes a long time either. It doesn't take a long time to build belief. It just takes you being willing to let go of the unwanted belief and start thinking about the possibility of the new truth. That's it. That's it. Shift your focus to the possibility of the new truth and don't allow the old truth to be true for you anymore. Don't allow it to be your identity anymore. Don't allow yourself to own that anymore. Just get rid of it. Disregard it. It doesn't matter. Why doesn't it matter? Because it's only ever now. And right now, you always have the opportunity to change your story, to change your truth, to embody a new truth, to decide a new truth, to command a new truth with conviction. This is what I'm saying is how it is now, period. Doesn't matter what happened before. This is what's true now. Maybe I thought something else was true before, but this is what I think is true now. And I'm sticking to it. This is my story and I'm sticking to it. And keep it light. Have fun. How many awesome assumptions can you create a day? How many awesome truths can you assume in one day? How many times can you choose something better? Can you choose a better assumption? Make a game of it. Keep it light. But doing hours of techniques, the reason you feel so stuck and frustrated is because all those techniques are doing is making you remember that you don't have what you want yet. So if you are somebody who feels that way right now, I would like to suggest that you take a step back from all the work you're doing, pick a few affirmations that embody what you want to be true. The max I usually do is 3. That's what works for me. You pick for you. Maybe it can even just be one mantra. And from this moment forward, no matter what happened before, no matter what I see in front of me, I know my thoughts create because I've had unwanted assumptions about this relationship with this person and it showed its ugly face to me right there. It's what I'm experiencing right now. But right now I have the opportunity to change that because I can assume something better. So I've got my new mantra. I've got my new couple of affirmations. I'm going to enjoy my life. And when the thought of my old story creeps up, I'm going to remind myself that's not what's true anymore. This is what's true. And then I'm going to go about my day again. And then when I get a feeling that comes from the old story, like I'm feeling doubtful or worried or lonely or something triggers me out here and reminds me of my old story, it's okay. I don't need to be triggered by that anymore because that's not what's true anymore. This is what's true instead. And then you go about your day, but by pushing against what you don't like, by shoving a million techniques in front of it's more often than not keeps people feeling stuck and frustrated because the meaning they're giving the affirmations is everything. And if you're constantly just like, I have to say this, I have to say this, I have to do this, I have to do this, what I want isn't true, what I want isn't true, I have to do this, what I want isn't true. You're right. You're always right. If you keep thinking that what you want is not true, you're just going to keep getting more of that in your experience. If you keep thinking that what you want is impossible, you're just going to keep experiencing more things that make you feel like it's impossible to manifest what you want. So instead of binging content and binging techniques and forcing yourself to do all this stuff to get what you want, relax it a little bit. Take a break from that. Have a few affirmations that embody what you want. SP adores me. We talk every day. Our communication gets better every day. I'm their favorite person to talk to. They always reach out to me. Okay? That whatever it is. And then you just let all the junk story go. You let go of the old story. You don't let go of the desire. You let go of the unwanted truth that you're holding on to. You let go of telling yourself constantly, it's not true yet. They haven't reached out yet. I haven't heard from them yet. Okay? So I intend this video helped you. It was a super awesome breakthrough for her, and it was a long time coming. I'm so happy. I'm so happy it showed up. And you guys can do it too. It doesn't have to take a long time. Like the second she gave up on making it a job, it showed up like the next day. And, you know, she had to stick on her mental diet related to her new story because something else showed up that made her think immediately, oop, now he's out of contact again. So the old story crept up, but she dismissed it. Stuck to the new story, right back in contact again. So it's as simple as that. Like, dismiss the old story, stick to the new one. What you want is going to manifest. It's going to show up. It's the only way it works. Okay. All right. I think that's all I want to share in this video. I intend it was everything you needed to hear, and you have a huge breakthrough after watching it. And please comment any questions, or when you manifest contact with your SP, please put that in the comments because it's super motivating to everybody on the channel. I intend that you have an amazing rest of your week. You deserve all of your desires. And I'm available for coaching. If you want to work with me or take any of my courses, you can find the link for that in the description of this video. All right, everyone. I'll see you in the next one.